FNAF is such a popular series. There have been countless attempts to recreate its success, whether it be through movies starring Nicolas Cage or through fan games. We always love more FNAF. But some fans don't find FNAF to be scary enough, so they went off and made their own versions of the characters, and some even made whole game series surrounding their creations. Final Nights is one of those series, and those animatronics are definitely scary, but which are the scariest? That's what we're exploring today. Greetings gamers and welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. I'm Connor Monroe and this is the Top 10 Scary FNAF Final Nights animatronics. Let's do it. In at 10, Withered Fredbear. Withered Fredbear from Final Nights 1, as you'd expect, is a withered version of Fredbear. However, there is only a head seen during this character's night appearance, as it will poke its head through the holes in the ceiling in the attic. You just need to shine your light at him to prevent him from jump scaring you. Other than that, he is more or less a toned down version of Nightmare Fredbear, but with less bulk as we can see in the extras for the first Final Nights game. His jump scare is also frightening, coming out of seemingly nowhere like most jump scares, but with it being only its head, it gives the illusion of some odd movement that sets me on edge. Like it's his head just coming straight at you or like at an angle, so like he's kind of like doing this or something. It's weird. In at 9, Burnt Chica. Burnt Chica appears in the second Final Nights game, Final Nights 2 Sins of the Father, and Final Nights 4 Fates Entwined. The two versions are definitely different design-wise, but I'll be focusing on the model from Final Nights 2 for this number. Every time it says Final Nights, my body tries to say FNAF. Burnt Chica looks like Withered Chica, only that she is burnt completely this time. Her left leg below the knee is missing and forces her to hop around, kinda like a chicken. A majority of her right arm is missing, with only part of her upper arm remaining, and she still suffers from a missing left hand and a broken jaw, with the suit like having like her jaw kind of hanging, but most of it's also kind of missing. It's weird. Strangely, she also appears to be the only burnt animatronic who still has eyeballs, which are gray and featureless. The entire front of her torso appears to also be torn open, revealing a strange lack of an endoskeleton torso, which is odd to say the least. She seems to have endoskeleton at the joints, but that doesn't make sense because if the fire was hot enough to melt the endoskeleton, why did it only burn the casing? Why didn't it melt the endoskeleton at the joints? In at 8, Shadow Spring Bonnie. Shadow Spring Bonnie is one of the two primary antagonists of Final Nights 2. He is also one of the final animatronics of the game. Shadow Spring Bonnie resembles Springtrap, as is to be expected when mentioning Springlock suits. Similar to Springtrap, he lacks the suit on his feet and has a majority of his right ear missing. Overall, he has rips, but is not missing any limbs or parts at all, which is a stark contrast to the burnt animatronics in the first 4 nights of this game. His face glows white, which is notable when he's in the hallway, but also gives him a more sinister appearance that pushes the something supernatural idea that most of the Shadow animatronics have, like Shadow Bonnie from FNAF AR. Shadow Spring Bonnie takes the roles of Burnt Freddy and Burnt Foxy on night 5. He is very fast, so the player must seal the vent quickly or else they'll get jump scared, and he also may appear in the hallway. However, you should never use your flashlight, otherwise you'll get insta-killed. Also, inspect his face when he appears there, because if he's twitching, you need to close the door, and then a rattling sound will let you know when he's left. The fact that you need to look at his face closely to see if you're in danger is kinda terrifying, especially when most of what you need to do is based on fast reflexes, and if you're stuck staring at someone to see if they're twitching, you can't pay attention to what else is going on. And at 7, Reaper Balloon Boy. Reaper Balloon Boy was introduced in Final Nights 3 Nightmares Awoken before being brought back in Final Nights 4 Fates Entwined. However, his Final Nights 4 appearance is much worse, so I'll be focusing on that one for this number. Reaper Balloon Boy's body appears to be immense for a small animatronic. He has long extending arms with blue and red striped sleeves and has protruding fingers at the end of his hands. But obviously they're protruding because they're coming out of his hand, but they're more like stumpy. It's weird. He also has many red scratches all over his body, possibly resembling human cuts. In Final Nights 4, however, his appearance becomes much more disfigured and rough, with his face and fingers being stretched out even more and sporting multiple sharp-looking blades on his propeller cap. Reaper Balloon Boy appears in Investigation 4 in Final Nights 4, and he, along with the other Reaper animatronics, try to attack Max Donovan in the hospital bedroom. If the player hears him laugh, they must go up to him and shine him with the flashlight to repel him. The scariest thing about this animatronic though is his museum description that reads, quote, "Not related to Danny DeVito." And at 6, Burnt Freddy. Burnt Freddy, like Burnt Chica, appears in Final Nights 2 and 4, and is a burnt version of Withered Freddy. He's a rusty and badly burned bear with a top hat and bow tie with 2 buttons on his chest, because, counting buttons is important for some reason. He has a large hole in the left side of his head, revealing parts of his endoskeleton head, and I mean at least he has one, which in Family Guy would also mean something completely different. He also lacks eyes, a left arm, a right hand, and both feet, which makes him resort to crawling, which I have to be honest isn't the most efficient method of movement. Unless I'm drunk, in which case it becomes the only way that I can get around. In Final Nights 4, Burnt Freddy's texture looks more plastic though. His chin is fixed and he's able to walk around, and he can sorta kinda limp. Like me when I'm slightly less drunk. Actually, I can kick ass when I'm drunk. At least if I'm playing Blade and Sorcery and pretending to be Captain America. Did that on my personal channel. It was a fun video. Gave me an excuse to drink online. How are we doing in number 5? Reaper Puppet. Ah yes, my arch nemesis. The Reaper Puppet. If you didn't know, the Reaper Puppet was the first fan animatronic ever featured on this channel, in the top 10 scary FNAF animatronics list around a year ago. The first FNAF video by me on this channel was on January 29th, 2020. Can you believe that? It's only been like a year and a half, and we already have over 200 FNAF videos. And the video I'm talking about came out a month later, on February 24th, 2020. So I have a long history with this character. The Reaper Puppet, along with Shadow Bonnie and the brother from Final Nights 1, are the only animatronics in the entire series to start off a night outside. Reaper Puppet appears to be the counterpart to the original series puppet, though it is only the Reaper Puppet's head that is similar to the core series puppet. The rest of his body is a dark shade of black. It has long stretching arms that are kind of like goo and has sharp fingers. He's like the Grim Reaper. The Reaper Puppet also has multiple tentacle-like legs, which is pretty unsettling to say the least. It can also be easily mistaken for a tree, and its legs look like roots and the shoulders look like branches. This thing is so creepy that I included it on a list that shouldn't have had any fan animatronics in it because I was so creeped out and I felt compelled to. Like how kids in Fazbear Frights are drawn to the restaurants. But you should see this thing try to climb over a balcony. It's horrifying. And at 4, Shadow Fredbear. Shadow Fredbear is the other primary antagonist from Final Nights 2 along with Shadow Spring Bonnie. An odd thing to note about this animatronic is that Shadow Fredbear is almost perfectly intact, only burnt black in color, which is a hard contrast to the burnt animatronics, who are absolutely destroyed. He has a few rips in his body and is missing a left hand. The area around his mouth also appears to be slightly torn, revealing a majority of his endoskeleton teeth, but everywhere else remains mostly intact. His teeth and eyes glow, which make him easier to see in the hallway, and also for some reason the right eye seems to float in its socket, which again only adds to the supernatural feel. But no other animatronic seems to share this design feature, so I don't know why they included it. He replaces Burnt Bonnie, the brother, and Burnt Chica on night 5, and may hide in the right vent, which results in it needing to be closed. Obviously. He may also appear in the hallway, making you have to use your flashlight when he's close, since closing your doors may actually get you killed, as well as shining your flashlight too early. His head may also appear in the brother's shack, which will be signified by a breathing noise, so if you hear that, you'll need to hit him with your flashlight in order to survive. That kind of sounds like a prophecy. I don't know why, I just kind of get the vibe of a prophecy, you know, a prophecy of death. And at 3, Glitch Balloon Boy. Glitch Balloon Boy, also known as GBB, is the secondary antagonist in Final Nights 2, and also appears on Night 5, alongside Shadow Spring Bonnie and Shadow Fredbear. GBB is the only glitched animatronic in the game. He has the shape of Balloon Boy, but he's kind of glowing and flashes 3 colors very quickly. He also seems to glitch out easily, hence its style and name. He is also the least withered animatronic in the game. The character also seems to nearly have a TV grain aesthetic to him, with certain screenshots showing horizontal lines that you'd get like if a TV didn't have service, you know, instead of like the static, it's like the staticky black and white lines. GBB also emits a distorted version of Balloon Boy's laugh, and he will go through the left vent. Seal it instantly if he appears in that vent, because if you do end up failing to seal it, he will not jump scare you like other animatronics, but rather he will appear in your office and laugh, slowly breaking all of your cameras one by one, including the vent cameras, which allows Shadow Fredbear and Shadow Spring Bonnie to basically kill you instantly. While not jump scaring the player, he is certainly a mischievous scamp, making him scarier than the other two, at least in my opinion. And ultimately in at number 2, Stage Bonnie. Stage Bonnie is an antagonist in Final Nights 4 or fates entwined. He is the original Spring Bonnie from Fredbear's Family Diner, as well as the very first model of Bonnie. The name of Stage Bonnie comes from the museum level, which unlocks after beating Night 5, however it's just the Spring Bonnie from 1973. Stage Bonnie is a golden yellow animatronic rabbit that doubles as both animatronic and suit. He sports articulated ears that are able to bend, he also wears a purple bow tie like Fredbear, and also like Fredbear, Stage Bonnie wears white gloves and has green eyes. While not run down like the other animatronics, there's just something about this guy that makes him creepier than most of his other counterparts. I don't know if it's because seeing a yellow Bonnie repaired is weird since all the other versions have been run down, or if it's the pose or the posture or the fact that William used it to murder like 17 kids, but Stage Bonnie is still pretty damn creepy despite being the cleanest animatronic on this list. Finally, in at number 1, Reaper Spring Bonnie. Reaper Spring Bonnie, however, is the opposite of Stage Bonnie. This Reaper variant appears in Final Nights 3 and 4 and is an absolute monstrosity, but he is definitely more terrifying in Final Nights 4. He is 100% the scariest animatronic in the games. In essence, Reaper Spring Bonnie is a nightmare springtrap. He has sharp teeth and a very damaged and withered body. His suit is dark yellow in color, and he sports a big purple bow tie on his upper chest, and like the other Reaper, there we have it friends, the top 10 scary FNAF Final Nights animatronics. Which Final Nights animatronic is the scariest to you, and what fan game should we cover next? Be sure you let me know down below. Also, if you have any suggestions for other games you'd like to see, put those down below too. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been and shall remain Connor Monroe, and I'll see you in another video.